Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushua, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushua, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles, the elders, salutations to you, sincere brothers, teaching in truth and in sincerity. This lesson will be entitled, The Grinders Cease Because They Are Few. This article is entitled, Nearly 1.2 million seek jobless aid after $600 federal check ends. This article was published on August 6, 2020. Nearly 1.2 million laid off Americans applied for state unemployment benefits last week, evidence that the coronavirus keeps forcing companies to slash jobs just as a critical $600 weekly federal jobless payment has expired. The government's report Thursday did offer a smidgen of hopeful news. The number of jobless claims declined by 249,000 from the previous week, after rising for 2 straight weeks, and it was the lowest total since mid-March. Still, claims remain at alarmingly high levels. It is the 20th straight week that at least 1 million people have sought jobless aid. Before the pandemic hit hard in March, the number of Americans seeking unemployment checks had never surpassed 700,000 in a week, not even during the Great Recession of 2007 through 2009. Rubila Elf, chief U.S. economist at High Frequency Economics, called the drop in weekly claims a move in the right direction, but in a research note, she added, repeated shutdowns for virus containment remain a threat to the labor market, which is already weak. The possibility of mounting layoffs that could become permanent is high. No future in America without effective virus containment, hence a vaccination. The recovery remains at risk from ongoing job losses that could further restrain incomes and spending. The pandemic, the lockdowns meant, you know what? Let's jump down. On Friday, the government is expected to report a sizable job gain for July, 1.6 million. Yet, so deeply did employers slash payrolls after the pandemic paralyzed the economy in March that even July's expected gain would mean that barely 40% of the jobs lost to the coronavirus have been recovered. And the pace of hiring is clearly slowing. A resurgence of cases in the Southwest, a resurgence of cases in the South and the West has spread it elsewhere and upended hopes for a speedy economic recovery as bars, restaurants, and other businesses have had to delay or reverse plans to reopen and rehire staff. All told, 16.1 million people are collecting traditional unemployment benefits from their state. For months, the unemployed had also been receiving the $600 a week in federal jobless aid on top of their state benefit, but the federal payment expired last week. Congress is engaged in prolonged negotiations over renewing the federal benefit, which will likely be extended at a reduced level. In the meantime, millions of the unemployed suddenly have less money to pay for essentials. Many of them are among the 23 million people nationwide who are at risk of being evicted from their homes, according to the Aspen Institute, as moratoriums enacted because of the coronavirus expire. Last week, an additional 656,000 people applied for jobless aid under a program that has extended eligibility for the first time to self-employed and gig workers. That figure isn't adjusted for seasonal trends, so it's reported separately. In Florida, whose tourism industry has been pummeled by the pandemic, John Brenner has lost his position as a hotel manager, a 38-year-old from Plantation, Florida. Brenner has now been out of work for 4 months. Florida's weekly unemployment aid is capped at $275 a week, so I'm quite reliant on the extra $600, Brenner said. That extra $600 put me at just about what I was making when I was working, he said, and I'd much rather be working. I'm going very stir crazy. You can see that America's future is dimmed, and the heartbeat of America's economy is the middle class. And like I stated before, through the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, the Most High has placed that spirit on the powers to be to wipe out the middle class. This is an objective within the attainment of the New World Order. Ecclesiastes 12:3, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease. And we are in this time frame now. The grinders cease, job loss. And there will be more job loss because of this so-called second wave. And the grinders cease because they are few. And those that look out of the windows be darkened, no future, no hope. And all of this brings on what? Depression and anxiety. And the doors shall be shut in the streets. More doors will be shut in America. When the sound of the grinding is low, job loss. And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, getting up early in the morning to get that head start, to find employment. And all the daughters of music shall be brought low. Lord, will you edify? Shalom.